Hey boys and girls, it's your good buddy Dave from Kart Speed. I figured I'd get on here and make a really quick video. I know there's a lot of buzz around the new MyChron 6 that just came out a few weeks ago. And so I wanted to make a video because I received a lot of questions about what's different about this one than the MyChron 5S. So I just figured I'd make a really quick video to kind of highlight some of the key features of the MyChron 6. And what kind of differences, kind of maybe answer some questions of concern, like, how big it is versus the 5. I figured let's kind of go through some of the concerns. One is how big it is. I've heard people say, oh, it's like having an iPad up on your steering wheel. Well, it's not that extreme. Is it a little wider? Yes, it's a little bit wider, but it's still in the same realm of size. Here's a picture of ours mounted behind the steering wheel, and here's a picture with a MyChron 5S on top of it. So you can see that the MyChron 6 is a little bit wider, but they did that to give you a wider screen so it's easier to read while you're on the racetrack, okay? A couple different things is the MyChron 6 has an internal battery instead of an external battery like the 5S. It is the battery life for the 6 is 20 hours. And it has a USB-C charger. Okay, that's what the kind of charger it takes, and it also takes. It has the ability to have mass storage. So what does that mean? That means that you can get a memory card from AIM and plug it in and keep a whole lot more data than just what the actual memory inside the MyChron keeps. So I know we've all been there, right? Where you went racing earlier last year and you're like, oh, what is the information from that race? Well, with using their memory card, you can now store all that information, okay? Or if you wanted to, share data files or whatever without taking the MyChron actually off the go-kart, you can do that as well. Or if you're in an extended race where you're pulling a lot of data, you can switch memory cards out instead of actually removing the MyChron itself. Like I said, with the screen being wider, there are some new screen features. So the MyChron 6 has a new screen called Predictive. And with this screen, your 5S has predictive lap timing, where it shows you in the LED the colors how fast or slow you are to your fastest lap. Well, the MyChron 6 does the same, but it also does it with a screen, so you can see how fast or slow you are in real time by the scale they have over here on the side, and it gives the driver real-time information to how they're doing compared to their fastest lap or a lap that was downloaded into the MyChron for comparison purposes. Now, the big thing that I think is the big thing and the big difference between the 6 and the 5S is that the 6 has a brand new 6-axis IMU. David, what is the IMU? That is a great question, right? So the IMU is the circuit board that holds all the gyro sensors and the accelerometers inside your MyChron, all right? Now, what does that mean in reality? Well, that means that now your MyChron 6 can give you steering input, where instead of using a steering sensor for the MyChron 5, so for the 5 or 5S, for it to give you steering angle or steering input, you would have to put an extra sensor on the go-kart. Well, for the 6, it reads it all within the MyChron 6, so you're getting steering angle or steering position just with the MyChron 6 with no extra sensors, which is pretty huge because that makes dialing in your go-kart and changing your setup way easier when you can see driver input. Okay, so in addition to steering angle, the new IMU that's in your MyChron 6 will also give you yaw angle, which makes diagnosing an issue with the setup or the way the go-kart's handling or driving way easier, because now you're able to see how much angle the go-kart actually is turning through the turn, which again makes it a whole lot easier when you're doing data analysis to see how the go-kart's reacting to the input the driver's giving. Okay. A couple other things. The GPS sensor in your MyChron 6 is slightly stronger than what's in the 5S. So your 5S reads at 20 megahertz. That's the sample rate of it. The 6 reads at 25 megahertz. So it's a little bit more accurate than the 5S. Just to kind of give you an idea, your iPhone or your Android reads at 1 megahertz. So it's way more accurate than your cell phone, but the 6 is a little bit more accurate than the 5S, okay? Another question that I got was, is the MyChron 6 backwards compatible? So yes, if you have a MyChron expansion, if you're running pedal position sensors or steering sensor or onboard tire temp sensors, those items will still plug into your MyChron 6. Now, the only difference is the middle port here. The middle port, which is labeled CAN 2 or lap, is a little bit, the port itself is different than what's on the 5S. So in order to use your IR receiver for indoor racing, or if you plug in a axle speed sensor into the MyChron, straight to the MyChron, you will have to get an adapter that AIM will provide. So AIM does have those available. Also, Bluetooth capabilities. So these MyChron 6s are Bluetooth capable. So what does that mean? So that allows you to read things like heart rate monitors. It connects to 90% of the heart rate monitors on the market. What does that mean? That means that now when you pull your data and you download it in your computer, you can study the driver's heart rate, which is a big thing. I know what you're thinking, David. I know they do this in F1 or IndyCar, but they're looking at the driver health. Why do I need to be concerned with that with go-kart racing? Well, it will help you get into the psyche of the driver, right? If you have a junior driver and some of his decision makings seem a little suspect at the beginning of the race, well, you can go back and look at his heart rate. If his heart rate skyrockets, then maybe he's a little nervous or unsettled about what's actually happening on the racetrack. Okay, so it kind of gives you an idea of how the driver's thinking, But I know the big question that you guys will know: well, how does the data look after a race? So we went racing this past weekend with the MyChron 6, and I downloaded some information. Check it out.
We are turning the MyChron. Here's y'all.
Hey guys, what we're looking at here is some race data from the new MyChron 6. What we're looking at on the screen here is the top graph is GPS speed, where the go-kart's losing speed and gaining speed through a lap. In the second graph, we have GPS lateral Gs. This is how much the go-kart's rolling over and using the right side tires and how much grip is building. And then on the third graph here, we have steering angle, all right, produced by the MyChron 6. And as you can see, when he goes into turns 1 and 2, look how the go-kart loses grip and slides, okay? And you can see him, watch how he gives a steering wheel and starts sawing at the steering wheel. But really what I want you to focus on is look at going into turn 3. Look how much steering wheel he has to take out of it and how the go-kart loses grip. Another feature we have of this new IMU, the 6-axis IMU, is I'm going to pull up the accelerometer Z. And as you can see here, this reads how much G's pushing down the go-kart's filling. So this is pretty much gravity. And anytime you see it leave the -1 G's and then accelerate past -1 G's, that means the go-kart is leaving the ground. So you can see the go-kart go over a bump here getting into turn 3. Actually, it's right there. You can see it. And these are some of the cool things that you can use the new MyChron 6 to do. Help you analyze and figure out and diagnose what the go-kart's doing much easier and much faster. I know what you're thinking. Dave, I need a MyChron 6. I know. Why should I buy it through CartSpeed? Excellent question, all right? Every MyChron 6 that's purchased through CartSpeed will receive a free setup service. Well, what's the setup and service include? Well, a setup service, we will update the firmware to the most current firmware. We will upgrade the track database so that whenever you go to the racetrack, your MyChron 6 will read the same lap times that's coming from the flag stand, okay? We will set up all the parameters to your MyChron. We will also calibrate it, and then we can put a custom logo on the startup screen of your choice, all right? Normally, we charge like $50 for a setup service, but if you get your MyChron 6 through CartSpeed, we'll do that for free, all right? So, MyChron 6s are in high demand, okay? So, if you decide that you want one, I highly recommend going to our website and going ahead and getting on our wait list. We are filling orders, first come, first serve, and we're hoping to have all orders filled in the next few weeks or in the next coming weeks. And remember, guys, as we say in all our other videos, race is tough. There's no need to make it tougher than what it needs to be. And don't be leaving no speed in the trailer.